Hello everyone, yeah it's me, it's Mark from the Science of Wellness. Thank you very much for joining me. So today I have got something upfront and personal for each and every one of you. That's correct. I'm going to give you the opportunity to have an understanding beyond what you already understand about fruits, vegetables, nutrition and what the hell to do about it. It's important right now, right? Perfect, thank you. Well, welcome to the Science of Wellness. This is my little thing and I'm going to run through some interesting things for you. For those of you at home, a little bit about me. I am a social entrepreneur. I'm going to cover that with you in a minute as to what that means. And why I'm here with you today, doing it by video, is because, plain and simply, this was going to be an event. You couldn't come to the event, so I'm just sending it out to those of you that want to see it. I have a number of people here in the audience. Some of the audience say hello. Hello. There you go. So we have a socially distanced audience here today just watching us do this. So I'm not a professional speaker, as you probably gathered. I'm a little bit nervous about presenting, as you probably... well, hopefully you can't tell, but I'm going to do my best to get my points across to you about the facts, the discomforts in food, supplementation, but I'm also going to offer you a good solution. Everybody happy so far? Yeah. I'll be about an hour. I suspect we may be about an hour putting aside all questions and answers, but this is where it gets exciting. So why don't you go and have a cup of tea and you can come back and join me in a second. So yeah, pause it right now, go and get a cup of tea, come back, get a pen and paper, get some notes on the go. Fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to be covering with you today, as I've just said to you, is I'm going to give you some facts about food. I'm going to tell you about a bit of a refresher course into why nutrients work and how they work and what your body needs and all the exciting things. And then I'm going to kick you up the arse and give you some quite uncomfortable facts about that. Then I'm going to talk about supplementation, I'm going to talk about pharmacy. I'm not going to be rude about anybody, but I'm going to just hit you with some headlines, and the good news is I've got good news about that. And then I'm going to come back and talk about Mission 5 Million, which we covered earlier on. Everybody good in the same place. Okay, there was a man called Heraclius. He lived between 1493 and 1541, and he was called the farmer of toxicology. And his great statement that he left us with was that all man needs for good health and healing can be found in nature. It's the job of science to find it. And I think we agree that that is kind of where we're at right now. So he wrote that in somewhere about the beginning of the 15th century, but bearing in mind what we know now about nutrition in reality is about 100 years old. Is about 100 years old. I think it was the 17th century when Lund discovered that if sailors sucked on lemons or limes, they wouldn't get scurvy, but he didn't understand that that was vitamin C. This is why we're called limers, because we'd always be sucked on lemons and limes. But even though he knew that if they did that, but we've only discovered in the last 100 years that that is actually vitamin C. Did you know that the word vitamin actually comes from a word called vital amine, and that was really only identified as early as 1913 from a Polish scientist, and we can talk about all that. But what my point is that we're really just only beginning to understand what nutrition does within our bodies, and it's a very, very exciting thing, and I'm going to blow your mind today with information on that subject. Okay, so let's have a look at what we think we know, what we know we know, and what we don't know. How many people here have heard of essential vitamins and minerals? Put your hands up. How many people here have heard of essential fatty acids? Put your hands up. Okay, how many of you sitting at home have or are taking supplements for essential vitamins, minerals, or fatty acids? How many of you are there? Quite a few. Okay, there's a reason for that. I think you know what the reason is, but we're going to cover that in more detail. Essential amino acids. How many people have heard of amino acids? Amino acids are the building blocks before protein, so they're very, very small and they're very, very significant, and they are very, very necessary. And then how many people here have heard of essential carbohydrates? Essential carbohydrates. Now, what do we know carbohydrates are? Anybody? Anybody in the audience? Anybody? What's a carbohydrate? Anybody?
Sugars.
It's a sugar molecule. Thank you, man in the audience. Yes, it is a sugar molecule. So we're talking about essential sugars. I am going to blow your mind a little bit later about what you didn't know until now about essential sugars. This is very, very exciting. Let's have a look at how life has changed. Your body is a temple, and your body is a temple designed to work in a certain environment. The environment in which your temple now works has changed. You have external changes such as environment, you have internal changes, and those internal changes are what we're going to look at today, and that's the way that we eat our food. If we have a look here, we'll see that the primitive human, you know, what he ate and what he scavenged. Now, I'm not talking about meat in here. The reason I'm not mentioning meat in here is because I'm talking about fruits and veg. Okay, I'm not talking about meats. I don't want to upset the meat eaters, all the vegans, so I'm just going to talk about fruit and veg if that's okay. But we can see here that the primitive man, when he was in his optimal space, would have eaten those things. The modern man has now got to a place of eating a lot more foods that have come from different places, refined grains being one of them, as we know. Fortified, we'll come back to that garbage later. Right, write this down, can you? If you've got your pen and paper open, taking notes, write this down, can you? If there's an advert for it, don't eat much of it. Okay? If there's an advert for a food, try not to eat much of it because it means that it's been processed. Obviously, do as much cooking as you can at home. You know, those of you that have got gardens right now, blessed are you that are able to grow your own fruits and veg. But you know, hopefully we're all eating our greens. Just as importantly, we're all eating our reds, we're all eating our yellows, and those of us that are growing stuff. I had some kale out of my garden yesterday. Man, that tasted good. That was really, really good. Very happy with that. Okay, so getting back on point, Sparks. Right, so primitive man is human being. But the good thing is that now we know more about how nutrition works, we can start to say, hey, why is broccoli good for us? So have a look at this slide here. Look, broccoli. 10 health benefits of broccoli. And we can identify those 10 benefits of broccoli because we now have the ability to look at how food works and how our bodies work with and the relationship between the vitamins and minerals from fruits and veg. Everybody is pretty, I guess you kind of already knew that, right? But let's have a look, you know, the benefits of broccoli. Matter of fact, let me just give you a bit of insight here. Did you know that your stomach has a broccoli receptor? Yes, it does. Let me just explain that. So here's a little bit of a food lesson for you. So when you eat food, the mastication in your jaw sends a different message to your stomach. So when you eat something like, I believe they're from the crucifer family broccoli, but when you eat something from that particular crucifer family, when you chew the mastication, it sends a different message to your stomach to say that there is good nutrition coming your way. The whole of your stomach opens up slightly. That mastication is very, very important, which is why broccoli is very, very good. Little hot tip for you. Always chew a little bit of leafy green veg before you eat rich food, and then it will cut down the amount of stomach acids you get if you do suffer. Okay, a little tip for you there. Anyway, moving on. So we can see that broccoli is very, very good for us. And here's something off of my website as to what is in broccoli. As you can see, it's smashed. Vitamin A, B1, B2, B5, panthenolic, B6, B9, vitamin C, vitamin K, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, potassium. How much more do you need? I mean, how many people have even heard of those particular things? But that's what we know is in broccoli, and that's why we know broccoli works. Minerals. How many people are supplementing minerals right now? Any hands? People in the audience? Yeah, we've got a mineral supplementer here. Anybody at home supplementing minerals? Ladies? Good, great, good. Okay. It's good that you are, but we're going to change that in a second. Let's have a look at calcium. So look at calcium. Now, what we do know is that calcium is very, very good for bones and osteoporosis and all those things. And I'm not going to get into a relationship between calcium and milk. I'm not going to get into that relationship at all. I know that the jury's out for many, many people on that. But modern day research actually leads to suggest that actually deficiencies in calcium could actually be down to deficiencies in magnesium because the two of them have to work together. Maybe some of you didn't know that. Well, that's true, and I'm going to explain how the hell I know in a little bit when we move on. Perfect. Okay, so magnesium. You know, we know that these things are very, very important to us, right? We now know that our leafy greens and our fruits and our veg are very, very important to us, and we need to be eating them. 8 forms of vitamin E. Wow. 8 forms of vitamin E. Great. We need them all. So good old nature, right? Yes, good old nature. Everything that man needs for health and healing can be found in nature. It's a job of science to find it. That's what he said in 1451. And we've got, we can now find things. Okay. I'm going to tell you some other things that we found out as well. It's going down the pan. Be encouraged. But 1940, the data to show you that the loss of nutrients within carrots. Now we're talking an overall standard. A lot of this research is done in the States, but please do not fool yourself to thinking that because we're in the UK we are immune to this science. We are not. It just means that America just has a lot more space to do a lot of science. So I'm quite happy to say that this is US data, and I'm also quite happy to say that it is over here as well. So please do not be fooled. If you're eating carrots, I'm not talking about you at home growing carrots in your own garden. I'm talking about the carrots that are available to mankind today and the state of the soil. Is that okay? Is that fair? I want to be fair and open. Is there a nod or a yes from the audience? That's good. I just want to be open. Want to be open? Good. Okay. So let's have a look at where else we can look at the missing nutrients, about what's missing in our diets right now. Vitamin 1951, 2 peaches would provide recommended daily allowance. Now it's 53 peaches. 1951, a cup of spinach provided the RDA of iron. Now it's close to 65. And why is that? Why is that? That's because we as a health risk, because the way that we grow food has been reinvented. Food itself has been reinvented when we're talking about processed food, and nutrition is being reinvented. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And there is also the external environmental changes that we face that put challenges on our body. Everybody still with me? We can understand. Okay. Soil depletion and harvesting, green harvesting, very, very good point. Did you know in America there are some parts where they will harvest the field and they will plough it and they will put phosphorus in it and they will plant it the same day? Do you remember the old days from school of crop rotation? Do you remember those days? And why we would do crop rotation? Because it helped with the nutrients in the soil. There is a lot more, same fruits growing in the same fields more and more when we come to industrial farming. That's true. So what's green harvesting? Okay, what's green harvesting? Have you ever bought something that says on the packet ripen at home? Yeah, it's not ripening at home; it's decaying at home. So let me just tell you a little thing about the phytomatrix. Let me just introduce you to the phytomatrix. So the phytomatrix is, let's take a peach. Let's go back to talking about peaches we were talking about before. So a peach is on the vine, and in the life of that peach, towards when it gets to that beautiful position of being ripe, and that ripeness is what gives it its sweetness and its taste. That ripeness and that sweetness is the phytomatrix of all the nutrients in that source being at optimum level. That is what ripe is. Ripe is all the nutrients being at optimal level for that particular thing. That makes sense. The problem is now, and we notice this with avocados, we're picking them green, we're shipping them, and then they're ripening at home. They began to decay as soon as you cut it down. So don't be falling for this ripening at home. So green harvesting is something else which is really driving down the nutritional value of our food. Is everybody still with me? Good. Have a little jump up and down. If you're getting a little bit... I'm enjoying it. This is great. Thank you very much for joining me. I really hope that you're still listening, if that's good. Brilliant. Lifestyles and stress. Okay. Now, I'm going to cover this section specifically, importantly, for anybody that is going through emotional stress right now. Emotional stress right now is caused by certain missing nutrients, and the whole psychological thing. I'm going to come on to that as well in a second. So, and also when you stress, when your body is stressful, you will be burning nutrients at a different rate, because everything will be, you have a brain function and your whole stomach and brain thing, the link of that I'm going to cover with you in a moment, so please stay with me. Pesticidal and environmental toxins. Pesticidal and environmental toxins. I'm not going to talk about the 153,000 man-made chemicals added to the environment since 1953. I'm not going to cover that today. That's another subject. But we are poisoning our water quicker than we can clean it, and the environments that we live in are no longer as pure as they used to be. And I think lockdown has proved that when we've seen the sky blue, we've seen the oceans blue, we can see how the environment that we live, the effects that we have on it. Good. I'm glad you can see that with me as well. Processed diet, processed junk and diet food. Oh, as I said before, if there's an advert for it, try not to eat it. Okay. Let's talk about drugs as well. How many people here are on drugs? And when I say drugs, I mean pharmaceuticals. Anybody here? Anybody at home taking a prescription right now from your doctor? Okay, have a look at this with me, because what we can see here, and again what science shows us, is that when we are on certain pharmacy prescription drugs, that there is a depletion of minerals. Because what has to happen is, in order for that aspirin to work at giving you a headache, it disrupts other processes and your body will react to it, and that is why you have a depletion of certain minerals and vitamins when you're on pharmacy. Anybody here on pharmacy, talk to me, because you really need to be taking good care of yourself. Okay, so let's be honest. We know how food works. We've gone through how food works. We've gone through the sadness of the state of food today. And please do not just believe everything I say. Look at it for yourselves. Have a look at it. I can point you in directions of validated science that will show you this stuff. But just Just trust me for now. Okay. So we now come to the point of, it's very, very prudent. Right, how many people here are taking supplements right now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, yeah. My social distance audience are. Any of you at home, you don't have to put your hand up. You could just do that maybe perhaps. Supplementation, great. Okay, so we now know the need, and the market is telling us that the $4 billion a year market in the UK will tell us is we need to be supplementing things. And then we run off and we take the supplements that we get from the shops. I'm sorry, kids. I'm sorry, friends. And I cannot ignore the fact. I cannot ignore the fact that I know that some of you are supplementing, and I cannot ignore the fact that I have to say to you, just please be careful. Just be careful with your money that you're spending. Be careful what it is you're buying. And just please listen to me on this particular subject. The word natural no longer means it's food derived. I'm going to be bold enough. I'm going to be bold enough now to say to you that about 97% of vitamins that are made in the retail environment today come from a source of leftover tar from the oil industry. I'm going to say that again, about 97% of vitamins available in the retail arena right now are synthetic, made up from leftover tar from the oil industry. About 99% of minerals that are sold today environmentally in the retail market are crushed rocks. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be totally honest with you, if the nutrition industry was regulated, 99.9% of direct selling companies would close within the next year. They would have to. I'm going to teach you, if you want me to teach you how to read the label. So how many people here are involved in other health companies? Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's not about saying everybody else is rubbish. It's about looking at the science and the marketing that comes with the packaging. That makes sense. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of information out there. Let's name a few. Let's name a few. Vitabiotics, well women original, 65% of the declared vitamin D. Not only is that 65% of what they claim was in it, that vitamin D would have been a synthetic molecule from tar left over from the oil industry. Don't take my word for it. Holland & Barrett ABC Plus, 52% of vitamin A stated. Well, that's not fair, is it? And again, that vitamin A would have been a synthetic molecule from coal tar left over from the mining, from the oil industry. Negligible amount of V6 in Nature's Best multigrade. And again, the source of that would have been synthetic. Papers that were started to written back in 2000, natural vitamins may be superior to synthetic ones. That is ongoing research, my friend. You know, and there's more and more research of that being done to show that anything in food form, the way that nature intended, was going to be the best way to be taking things. Brilliant. Okay, so let's just go back again, because this is where I'm going to blow your mind. Let's have 5 minutes. Let's have a minute to breathe. Everybody okay here? Yeah, okay, great. As I said, normally I'd have people along and I'll be presenting this live. I'm doing it to camera. It's a little bit different, so bear with me if it's not perfect. Matter of fact, I don't want it to be perfect, but just please bear with me. Okay, right, I want to get back to essential carbohydrates now. The thing that we're going to talk about later. Okay, essential carbohydrates. So let me paint a picture for you. I want you to picture a boiled sweet. I want you to picture a boiled sweet, and I want you to put that boiled sweet in your mouth and get it nice and wet. And I want you to go and roll it around on a rug. What's going to happen to that boiled sweet? You're going to pick it up and it's going to be covered in little sticky hairs. Yeah? Those sticky hairs on that ball of sweet is every cell in your body and essential carbohydrates. Let me make that plain and simple for you. Healthy cells make healthy tissues, and healthy tissues make healthy organs. Each of your cells requires essential carbohydrates for it to function properly. And that level of nutrition is the foundation to everything that your body needs to work. Have I made that nice and simple for you? Let's just maybe put a slide on that and we'll see if we can make it very, very simple for you. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at the glyconutrient alphabet. They're called glyconutrients. They are essential carbohydrates. They are very, very unique, and I'll cover that in a second with you. But let's have a look at how they work. You can see for yourself that let's start with the thing at the bottom. Let's have a look at the slide at the bottom where it's got the alphabet. I can make every letter of the alphabet with four shapes. As you can see on the slide right now, I've got 4 shapes, and I can make every letter of the alphabet, which is 26 letters, with those 4 shapes. Your cellular alphabet has 8 shapes. And as you can see on the screen right now, if those particular parts of the communication aren't working, you can see how the cell does not know how to defend itself, support itself, feed itself, and do everything your cells need to do in their lifetime. Does that make sense? We can understand how this alphabet works, and the story of how that alphabet was discovered in aloe vera. This whole breakthrough that I'm talking about now was discovered in the mid-80s with aloe vera, and the story of how that happened is beautiful. Am I right, audience? Yes or no?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed, shouts the audience. You need to see that story, but it comes from aloe vera. How many people here are aware that the power of aloe vera with the juice and stuff that we want to be taking? Great. Okay. There's a reason for that. I'm not going to cover aloe vera too much today, but there's a reason, and this alphabet came from understanding that particular healing process. And this is what it looks like. This is what those 8 sugars are like. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but what I'm going to demonstrate with you here right now is that what I understand, what we represent in the product range that I'm about to show you, is above and beyond anything available on the marketplace today, because we have this understanding level of food technology, if that makes sense.